So as a continuation, we are going to consider question number 7, which is part of our section B, as we were working with our paper 2 for June 2025 revisions. So in this case, we are given question number 7, which was part of statistics. So we are given a group of 100 Form 2 learners, which was being asked to give ages in years. So that's a group we are given. This group has got 100 Form 2 learners, meaning to say the total frequency of everything. Then from this, we are given, that is the ages in years of their grandfathers. The information is shown in the table below. So as they contributed their information, this is what we got. So the first part, it is just a normal information, guys, the ages that we are given in years and the corresponding frequency. So this is what we have, those ones in this age group. We are given 6 of them in this age group and so on. So the question on A was to calculate an estimate of the mean age, all right? An estimate of the mean age. So the first thing is the information that we are given here. What type of information? How do we classify this information? It's under which type? Remember, we have got the grouped and the ungrouped information. So this type where we are given classes like this, from 50 to 55, 55 to 60. This is grouped data. That is what grouped information. So the information that we have, it is grouped. If it is of the grouped information, therefore it follows that in order for us to determine the mean, which I'm just going to write in short, the mean, you can write it in short like this. So it is equivalent to the sum of the frequency times the X, which represents the class center. Everything over the sum of the frequency. So guys, by now we must be used to this language or mathematical language, the sum, summation, sum of. So we simply need the sum of this, which is the product here. As you can see, this is the product. What are we going to need? The frequency times the X there representing the class center. So this one, it is the class center, the class centers. That's it. Remember, how do you get the class center? Lower class plus upper class, then whatever that you get, you must divide by 2. So this is the condition that you must have. So meaning to say, in this case, our mean is equivalent to what? We are going to add like this, 50 plus 55 over 2, lower plus upper class divided by 2. So you don't need to show this information, guys. I told about this. It's just your calculator. That's 50 plus what? Plus 52, then everything over what? Over 2 like this. That was 50 plus 55. Why am I getting the 52 now? 55 like this. So that was going to give us what? 52,5. So this is 52,5 times, remember we need what? The frequency. So the corresponding frequency in this class is what? 6. We already have the frequency there. So that is the condition. Class center times what? Times the frequency. So we are going to do that because this is summation, sum of. We must add to the next class. You do the same thing throughout up to the last one. So the next class, 55 to what? To 60. So we're going to add 55 plus 60, whatever that we get, we must divide by what? By 2. So that was going to give us 57,5 for the sake of time. That's 57,5. Then the corresponding frequency is what? Is 10. So you do the same thing from 60 to 65, add those 2, divide by 2. That was going to give us 62,5. You multiply to the corresponding frequency, which is what? Which is 22. So you're going to do the same thing from 65 to 70. You add divide by 2. That was going to give us 67.5. 67.5 times the corresponding frequency of 32. You do the same thing. If we are to consider this part 70 to 75, you add, divide by 2. That was 72.5. 72.5 times the corresponding frequency, which is what? Which is 20. We do the same thing, the last one, 75 to 80, then divide by 2. It was going to give us 77.5 times the corresponding frequency there, which is 10. So this is at least enough for us to obtain the max, all the max, than for us to show that addition, you add 75 plus 80, then divide by it. Yes, you can do that. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it is not necessary for us to present that one on our calculations, all right? So this, as it is divided to what? We are going to need the total frequency, this one, the sum, the total, this is summation, the sum. You add all these frequencies, 6 plus this, you add. So instead of us doing that, we are already given that there are 100 learners that we have. Already it is there. So we are not going to start again adding these. We already know that these learners, there are 100 of them. So simply, the information that we're given, the ages from the 100 learners, it means they correspond to 100 grandfathers because they are representing each the grandfather. So they are 100. We're already having that. So that is it, guys. So on the top, you can just simplify. All right. Let's just, it's just going to be fine if I just even write it aside here. So what you're going to do is to multiply these two, do the same throughout. So multiplying here, it was going to give us, just for the sake of seeing if our answers are in the right. But if you see any part, guys, which is not corresponding to what you're having on your calculator, let us communicate. Let us know what is happening also on your side. So you do the same thing. You multiply those two. It was going to be 575. You multiply these two. That was going to give us 1,375 plus the product of these two, 2,160. The product of these two, 1,450. Okay, the product of these two, 775. That's okay, something like this. So everything, remember, it is over what? Over 100, the total frequency. So that's our mean. If we add everything on top, that was going to give us 6,650 over 100, which is going to give us 66.5. So that is what we are going to have as the mean. The mean is just like average. So we are given an estimate of the mean. We can simply calculate from the class centers times their corresponding frequencies, but you're supposed to add throughout. All right, so that was it. So if you're saying 66.5 is just like 66 years, it is just like 66 years, then 0.5 is just like half. 0.5 times 12 months, which means we've got what? 6 months. So it is just like 66 years or 6 months. But they said in this, just calculate an estimate of the mean age. It is up to you. Are you just going to write it in years as it is, or you're going to separate years and months from there? That one, it is in your hands. All right. Then from the information that you're given, we have the part B, the same information, meaning to say this table that we had above as it is, the same information is represented in a cumulative frequency table. All right, it's a part that you need to actually understand when you're dealing with the grouped information, or when you are working with the grouped information, grouped data. The grouped information, like I said before, can be used or can be represented on a cumulative frequency curve, a histogram, a polygon. So with that, the same this information that we see here could have been represented on a table that suits for a histogram where the frequency densities are. But in this case, it's not about that. It is about the cumulative frequency. So understand what exactly you are working with, because each has got its own information that you're supposed to use. So how do we present the cumulative frequency table? Remember, I said on top, these are upper classes. So we are going to need the upper classes versus the cumulative frequencies. So from 50, it is a lower class, not an upper class, this one. It is a lower class, as we can see this one. It is a lower class. So we were actually supposed to start at what? At 55. This is the upper class, 55. X is less than what? 55. We're supposed to start there here, which is corresponding to what? To this 6 that we are seeing. But they can put this 50 for the sake of having our graph starting from the ground when we are presenting it now graphically. This is on the presentation. So don't worry about this. You say, I don't have this 50 as an upper class. What is happening? No, it is fine. Don't worry about that. So you take that one with a 0 because it's not an upper class. So this one, I hope you're together. Then we're going to move on. We add and so on until to this P. So what is happening? All right. This is the 0 that we have. If you do not want to, guys, the way that you add, it is up to you. You can say this is the 0 plus 6, all right, which is going to give us the 6 that we see here. 6 plus 10, which is going to give us 16. Then 16 plus 22, which is going to give us what? 38. 38 plus 32 is going to give us what? What we need here. So we just need the sum of these two. So P is equivalent to what? 38 plus 32, just like that. So that was going to give us the value of P, which is what? Which is 70. So we have the value of P. That was just like that, guys. We have got our value of P here, just for the sake of revision. Let us write 70 here. All right, so from this information, we were further now given that answer this part of the question on a sheet of graph paper using a scale of 2 centimeters to represent 5 years on the age axis. On the age, what is representing the age X values? The age X values. X is this X. So it is important that our age be represented with what? With X in the X-axis. In the X-axis. 2 centimeters to 20 linears on the cumulative frequency axis. The cumulative frequency axis, as we are to represent or as we are to draw a cumulative frequency curve. As we are to represent this, the cumulative frequency is vertically presented. So we've got our cumulative frequency, then this part as of our classes is the part which is representing the age, which is the x-axis. We are going to take our x-axis representing what? Our age. That is the condition. This is the condition that we are given there. So they said 2 centimeters to represent 5 years. And we cannot talk about negative values, guys, for this cumulative frequency, guys. We cannot say there's a negative value in terms of the year. Someone has got -2 years. Cannot be possible. Or in terms of the frequency, the corresponding cumulative frequency, it cannot be a negative. These values, they're all positive. All positive. So there is no need for us to actually have our graph subdivided into two like this. It's more positive. All right. So from the graph, we're just going to have something like this. All right. Let us just see. So this is what we have. The part which represents our x-axis here is going to be the part of the edge. So this is our age in what? In years. So that is the one that we are given to be represented 5 years, 5 as it is. But if we consider now, let's go back to the information now. This is the part that I was explaining before about the 50 here, to say they gave us the 50 corresponding to the 0y, so that our graph is, when we are to present our graph, it is going to start from the ground. From the ground. That is the condition. So meaning to say your 50 can be presented at this point. There's no need for us to have any other point. It's a 40, then it's a 50. We can start at that point here, at the beginning of it. This will be our 50. So after 10 centimeters, 5 units, 55, and so on. So it's 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, and so on. That will be our condition now. After this, after each and every 2 centimeters. So at this point, as part of the edge here, as we are going up to the cumulative frequency, at the same point, you will represent with a 0 at the same point. So is the 50? Yes, for the edge. But as we represent the numbers of the corresponding now people, which is the cumulative frequency, we are starting from 0. Be very careful there. We are starting from 0. So the cumulative frequency, they are saying, all right, let's go to the cumulative frequency. It is what? 2 centimeters to represent 20 learners. 20. So we are going up from what? From 0. From 0 up to 100. 20, 20, 20, 20 up to 100. So this is our 0 there. Where the 50 is, that's where our 0 is. That is the condition. Okay, sorry for that. Where the 50 is, that is the condition that we are going to have. So meaning to say, as you go up, we are going to be affected by that. 0 there, then the 50 going up. So you just have to count, guys. This is where we're going to have our what? Our 10. So there they are saying what? 20. 20. So that's 20 and so on. So we are going to maintain this scale and so on and so on, right? So let me just try to have it like this. So like I say, that is going to be 20. Then we move on to 40 up to what? Up to 100. So that's it. We have got 60, 80, 100. So be very careful on the scale. It is be very careful. Present your scale properly. So we've got our cumulative frequency. This is the part of our age in years. So we can have this presented. So which table do we use? The cumulative frequency table. This one, it is useless now. We use this one for the presentation of that graphical part, the graphical part. So the first class, all right, let us consider these are our upper classes. So it is 50 versus what? 50 versus 0. So meaning to say that's at the ground here, 50 versus what? 0. So we move on, 55 versus 6. So 55 versus 6. According to scale, as we are to consider here, it is, remember, it is 10 boxes. So it means this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So each box going up, it's 2, 2, 4, and so on. Each box going up, which is on this other side. If we check, this is 50, 55. They are subdivided now like 5 units. So those 10 boxes, we just have to divide them into 2 now so that they represent 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So we divide them into what? Into 2. So it means this is 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. Understand your scale, understand your graph. So there, they need 55 versus what? 6. Okay, so 55 is here, then 6 we're just going to count because here it's like I said, it's 2, 4, like 2, 4, 6. So you're supposed to count that way, 2, 4, 6. So it was going to be, all right, 55 versus 2, 4, 6, somewhere here. So this is where we are going to have what? 55 versus what? Versus 6. Then we move on to another one, which is 60 versus 16. That's 60 and 16 there. So if we are to consider 60 and 16, we are still in this range of what? Of 20. So 60 here, then 16, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So that's it. Then another one, 65 versus 38. So this is 65, then 38, we must be above 20. This is 20 here. So 38, if we check, this is 40, guys, here. This is 40. So 38 is just going to be what? 1 box going down, because remember, 1 box represents what? 2. So that's our 38. Okay. So we move on to the other one for what? 70. Remember, 70 is versus what? 70. So 70 versus 70. Our 70 is here. So it's supposed to go up to 70. 70 versus 70. All right. So this is 70 here. This is 60. We are at 60 here. So 70 is going to be what? 5 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In between. In between 60 and what? 60 and 80. That's where we have got our 70. Then another one, it was 75 versus 90. 75. This is our 75, the following one, but it is versus what? Versus 90. So 75, 90, in between 80 and what? In between 80 and 100. So we need in between 80 and 100. So that was going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere there. So we're going to mark our point. So that is the condition. Then we have got the last one, which is corresponding to 80 and 100. Okay, so the last one was 80 versus 100. This one, 80 versus 100. So meaning to say we have got our 80 here going up, all right? So that's 80 and 100. They're going to correspond at this point. So this is what we have. So you must mark the points, all the points. So that is what we had from the first point of 0, 0, this one, all the points, all right, that we are given. Then after marking the points, make sure that you join using the free hand now. So the joining part, you're supposed to be using what? Freehand. All right, so let us just try to have this curve, and it must be a smooth curve that you are working with, a smooth curve that you are working with, or that you are to represent. So you must be very careful on your presentation. So let's just try. Let's try here on our board, guys, if we're going to have something smooth. Let's say from this point to this one. So you guys are supposed to have something smoother than the one that I'm having here. Yours is actually supposed to be very smooth. Something like this. So here the problem is shifting of the board. I cannot shift the board now, but you guys, you can be able to shift your papers, to rotate your paper so that you can have a curve which is smoother. All right. This one is not smooth, but anyways, I'm just going to leave it like this. For the sake of revision, guys, I'm just going to leave it like this. So yours is supposed to be very, very smooth. So it is supposed to be a stretched S, like something like that, all right? Which is, yes, something like of that nature. So this is how we can actually have our cumulative frequency curve represented. So according to the information that we had. And later on, the question was D, use the graph to estimate. They are not going to give us an exact value there. It's an estimation that you must do, because remember, we had our own curve. So the smoothness of that graph, sometimes you are affected, the freehand part, you see. So that is why they need you to just have an estimate value from what you obtained from your graph. Your graph is the one that you're supposed, your answers, they might be slightly different. Not that bigger, slightly different. Okay. So the first question, it was the median. So remember, the median, it is just half of the distribution. That is our median value. Or if you are using, guys, the grouped information, do not worry about this. The median is just halfway up. Halfway up. Halfway up. So what am I trying to say? As the curve is presented, the value that you are seeing, which is the last value corresponding to your cumulative frequency, which was 100 in this case, or you can even check it from the table there, which is what? 100. The last value that you see, that is your distribution, that is your way up. So the position for our median is halfway up, meaning to say half of 100 as we have got it. So that was going to be 50, meaning to say the 50th position is where our median is supposed to be found. From the 50th position, as we go up 0 up to 50, then we must trace from the graph what is the corresponding value from there. So as we have got 50 is between what? It's between 40 and 60. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere there. This is where we've got our 50. So you were going to take this 50 straight with that 50. This is our 50 straight with the 50 to the graph. All right. So where this 50 meets with the graph, as you can see, these two, they do meet at this point. Yeah, it is approximately now according to my graph now. So you take that one according to your graph. So let's see. Let's see, I was gonna get somewhere there. Okay, going down. So where these two meet, and we take this one going down, that is the corresponding value here was going to be, remember, according to our years, this side, it is 2 units, like 50, said it's gonna be 2 boxes represent 1. So it's gonna be like 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, remember that part. So meaning to say here, these 2 boxes, they represent what? 60. So we are at 60 here. Then this one, it's half in between. So that's a 0.5, because this is this is 65. So this was going to be 66, 67, as we are in between 66 and 67. So in between 66 and 67, in between. That is where you are. So it is what? 66,5. You just add these two divided by 2, or you just take it as it is, guys. 2 boxes, it's 1. So 1 box represents what? 0,5. So it was going to be what? 66,5 at that point. So this becomes the median value now. So therefore, our median was going to be, so our median was going to be 66,5 years. So take note, this is the median position, the position of our median. Then this is the exact value of our median, okay? So do not confuse between the two. Then the other question was the interquartile range. The interquartile range is given from the upper quartile minus the lower quartile, remember. So you must work with the upper quartile minus the lower quartile, which these two can be obtained the same way we did on the median. So it follows that if you are working with the upper quartile, which is our Q3, that is 3/4 of the distribution, 3/4 way up, as it was 3/4 of what? Of 100, which is at what? At 75. So this is the 75th position. It's a position, this one, where we must have the value for Q3. So where do we have 75? In between, if you have to check, this is 60. Then according to this, we're saying 2 boxes. 1 box represents 2. So that's 62, 64, 66, 68. This is where we're going to have our 70. Remember, we need 75. So that's 72, 74. So 75 was going to be in between, because we need like this. This was going to be like 76 here. So 75 was going to be in between 70, 74, and 76, in between. That is where we're going to have our 75. So taking this one, let us see from that part, I'm going to go straight to the graph. Okay, so it must be straight to the graph. Then where these two meet, we take that point to the horizontal, the answer to the horizontal, where we have the edges on the horizontal. So we take from this point to the horizontal, that is where we are going to have what? Our answer. So that was going to correspond somewhere there. Okay, somewhere there, which according to this one, so there, guys, is just gonna depend also with your presentation there. All right, so this is also on the smoothness of the graph. That one was gonna correspond to something like 71. So as for me, it was 71 or 71,5, because this is gonna be 70. Then we've got 71. So 72, it's here. 70, this is 71. So 71,5, it's here. So guys, we can have 71.25, somewhere there. It was the value of an approximation, guys. This one, I'm just going to estimate minus 71 years there. Just take the one that is corresponding to your graph. All right. Then Q1, it's a quarter of the distribution again. So that's quarter of 100, which was going to be 25 there. So we need the position first, the position. So the 25th position, remember also the smoothness of the graph, guys. If you check my graph here, a lot of disturbances there happened in terms of the smoothness. You guys, you have got a graph paper and a pencil. You can erase, redo, and so on. So at least you can have something which is what? Which is smoother. You take those values from what is corresponding exactly from your graph. So like I said here, we need what? 25. So that was 20, 22, 24, 26. So 25 was going to be definitely in between 24 and 26. So that was it. That point, just like the previous one, we take it to the graph. Okay. So this point to the graph, then the corresponding value is the one that we are going to need. The corresponding value from these two. What was going to be the corresponding value? All right, so it was going to be approximately 1, 2, 3, somewhere there. So guys, you can take what is from your graph. All right, so maybe approximately something like 63 there. So we had the 71, all right? Then here we had got what? 63. So that was going to be 63, what? 63 years. So if you've got those commas, 70,5, is it 71,5? Put those commas. If it's 71,25, yes, put those here. I'm just approximating the values due to the smoothness of the graph. Maybe it affected there. So that is going to be 71, our upper quartile, minus our Q1, which is what? 63. So you find the difference 8 years. So on your answers, you're going to have your answer in within this one that I'm having. So maybe yours can be 8,5, 8,3, it can be 7,9, but approximately within this one. So that is how we work out our cumulative frequency curve, which is also considered as the ogive, the cumulative frequency curve. The cumulative frequency and the what? The age, whatever that you are given, which is the position that of what? Our upper classes. On the presentation, we must have upper classes. Once you've got these guys, this graph can be presented. Make sure that you mark the points properly as they are given from the table of what? The cumulative frequency. Meaning to say, if this table was not given, you are going to create your own. It is not always where they are going to give you this table. Sometimes they just give you this information alone, where you are given the age and their corresponding frequencies. You are the one who is supposed to know what is it that you are to take from what? From this table. Because it is the same table, like I say, that can be used for a histogram. So let's do revise as many questions as we can as we prepare ourselves for the exams which are ahead of time.